Guys, this is Top Tier Cheers. Like coming at you with El Prez as usual.
Yo,
We're doing the remainder of Star Wars today. If you might, well, I don't think you would have noticed since we're uploading all these at the same time since El Prez went to sleep and didn't upload the other stuff.
no.
But
I did. I did. They're
oh,
just private at the time of recording.
okay, sure. I'll mess with that once everything is sorted. But anyway, it's me, him, and we've got a guy who just decided to be here. You might know him as the owner of Strictly Broken. He's going by Penguin 420, I believe.
That's what he is, as far as I'm concerned.
What up? What up?
He's also known
Here,
as Mr. Anime, I guess.
he has already stated he has not looked at this set, and I would just like to put a disclaimer that I have not actually built a functional deck of this set. I've only looked at the cards.
I've also only
So,
looked at the cards, but here we are.
well, that's fair enough. Anyway, we're gonna go straight into what color are we on? Red?
Red.
Yeah, red. All right. So the Star Wars set is one that probably shouldn't exist, but it ended up existing anyway. And I think everyone is grateful for that because it is very silly and pretty cool. So red is the dark side color, but before we get into that, I think we do have to do we have to do our usual routine. That routine now includes a shout out to our quote unquote pseudo sponsor, Strictly Broken TCG, strictlybrokentcg.com for all of your modern Weiss Schwarz needs.
I think we're
They've got
posting
articles.
articles there now.
Yeah, they've got articles, they've got singles, they can do playset orders if you PM the right people, and generally all round good people trying to spread out the English and Japanese markets for the foreign Weiss Schwarz community and not the group, which is, by the way, defunct. Move to the new group, please.
So I
Anyway,
heard the guy who owns the website is very attractive. Yeah.
he cut off his hair, so now he's like a lot less attractive.
Oh, feels bad, man.
Anyway, okay, so quick spiel on the rating system. It's only me and El Prez here today, and this kid's over here talking like I don't know. I don't actually know what he's doing. He says he's doing work, but I bet he's just watching Kripparrian videos. But what we have is a rating system from good to bad. So good is good cards. You want to put them in your deck because they stand out. They're strong. They're generally crazy good if we give them that rating because everything is pretty decent now. So if we say it's good, you can probably trust us. But I certainly can't say the same for the other ratings. Some of the other cards that we rate as playable or less than playable may end up turning to be some of the strongest cards in the set. And on the topic of that, the other ratings, the first rating I want to talk about elsewhere is what's this? Oh, sorry, is playable. Playable is they're the pawns of Weiss Schwarz to paraphrase limited resources. They are the cards that you want to have in your deck because you need role players in Weiss. You need level ones, you need level threes, you need level zeros. Just because a card isn't good doesn't mean it won't serve a functional role in your deck. Next, we have the niche cards. These are cards that need support from other cards or other specific archetypes in order to do well, and generally won't be quite as amazing on their own. But some of these cards, if built and put together correctly, may just be incredible. The entire green color we rated as functionally niche, and you can check that video out. But other than that, we've also got that last rather depressing rating of bad. If a card is bad,
Actively
it's almost
detrimental.
like we kind of just have like a vendetta against bad cards. I feel like we never give this rating out except to vanillas and like cards that are obviously strictly worse, and then any card other than that is just it feels like we're bullying that card, man.
We do.
No, that's fine. That's like not a big deal. Regardless, we have this last dank meme rating, but if you don't know what a dank meme is, I suggest reading up on that. And we have this last meta rating, which we will maybe talk about when we get to it. And I think we'll get to it quite quickly, given the first couple of red cards are quite strong.
Uh, yeah.
All right. So the first card that we want to talk about is everyone's favorite anime waifu, Darth Vader. He is a 3285. There are two level 3 Darth Vaders in the set, actually. This one is an advanced summon. So if there are 2 of your climaxes in your waiting room, this is neg 1 level in hand. If you're 3 or more other red characters, so like all dark side characters, this becomes a 10k, and you do not take damage from your opponent's auto abilities during battles involving this. That's a very powerful ability. It means your opponent's burn effects generally won't do anything if Darth Vader is the one facing that battle opponent. And as soon as you declare a front attack, you are the battle opponent. So on
Yes.
attack burns will be nullified, on reverse burns obviously nullified, all of that stuff gone. Other stuff like startup burns will still happen, and I believe shot triggers will still trigger, but
Yeah, shot triggers are the player dealing damage.
technically, even though it is associated with a character.
Yeah.
It doesn't end there, by the way. It's not just a 10k advanced summon that has anti-burn. It also is a heal, which is very strong. And then it has the additional ability of when this is front attacked, you may pay 2 and ditch a card from hand. If you do, deal your opponent 1 damage.
This card has an outrageous amount of text on it. It really does.
It has lots of words on it. I don't actually think it's like an amazing advanced summon or anything.
No.
It's an advanced summon heal, and Japan loves that. Like they're gonna eat this card up. But all the other abilities are kind of like, like it's a typical advanced summon condition, pretty good one. It's only 10k power, which means like you need some decent support behind it, and
You do
luckily
have that.
we do have support. In fact, yeah, there is actually another advanced summon that you can make as this card support. And the burn ability, I think, is not really that important. You'll use it to like win a game, but otherwise it's not that big a deal, right?
I mean, first and foremost, it is an early play healer. That's like the primary role that it's fulfilling in almost every game. Additionally, you'll randomly hose people. If you're like running against a deck that has a bunch of burn effects to finish the game, this will stop that from killing you.
My issue with that is that you need a bunch of this on the field, and do you really see yourself playing a bunch of it?
Because, yeah, the issue is when we get to the other Darth Vader, there's like remarkably little reason to put very many of these onto the board. But
Yeah, like with the other card that has this notable effect, the green level 3 from Rinne, which has made exactly no competitive splash. Well, maybe the blue has, but let's not talk about that. That card was designed to be tri-fielded and sat on, whereas this card is most certainly not designed to do that. Kind of a weird.
it's more like an incidental bonus to the card as opposed to like the game
Yeah.
plan. But that's just
See,
because you have a very powerful end game with red in particular.
Yeah. Like I agree with that, but the thing about incidental upsides on like flagship level 3s nowadays is every level 3 kind of has an associated power level, like an allocation of power, if you will.
Sure.
And any incidental upside is basically taking away from that card's ability to be even more broken. And because of this incidental upside, which is cute, I guess, this card fails to be like stellar.
I mean,
And
in reality, the anti-burn effect probably only knocked off about 500 power from the card's base power budgeting. Just because it also has the burn effect. The burn effect is probably a little bit more detrimental to the power budgeting overall. If it didn't have either of those abilities, it probably would be like a 3/2 12k heal that comes into play early. But
that would be more formidable, I feel.
yeah,
But
that would have been a more flexible, more generic card. But there is random upshot, and the low power is relevant, but there are ways to mitigate that in red.
of course.
At level 2, at least. At level 3, this is not the game plan. You're not planning on playing 3 of these and sitting on them in any circumstance.
Would. Like, if you do that against, like, Talavru, then they are unhappy. Like,
Yeah, there are sets like where that can be your game plan. I don't think it's necessarily the good game plan because you also have the ability to kind of just kill people at level 3.
yeah, but like, imagine you're at, like, level 2 and your opponent's halfway through level 2, and you, like...
just like jam 3 of these, then sure.
You, like, I wouldn't because, you know, I like having stock to do my end game.
Yes.
And you need the stock. Like, you can't just throw stock everywhere with this set. But it is a consideration. If this was, say, a come and play, draw 2, ditch 2, stock 1, you could actually do that. Like, you could chuck a bunch of these down, and then you could go into level. You hit them to level 3. They're like they do their first Yami turn or whatever, and they're unable to really burn you. They'll just try and kill you, and then they'll have cards that Darth Vader will be able to reverse. Which, I mean, I get that money will counter that, but that is a play you could make.
That Darth Vader is super fun, though, and I guess we'll get to that in a bit. But as far as this card is concerned, all the effects together still only get it really a playable plus rating from me. again, it's functionally at its base a 10k early play healer, and that's perfectly reasonable. The other effects may never be that relevant, except outside of like specific fringe scenarios. Your opponent's at 3-6, and you have this on the board, and it's just like, okay, this can kill them.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like, these abilities aren't blank. I just think that they could have been more streamlined.
Yeah.
And in this case, that could definitely be better. Playable Plus, I think, is reasonable. You're in the corner over there doing work. Do you have anything to add to this?
But do you play this in the red deck like 100% of the time?
I would play it over the Kylo Ren, yes.
I think you play it over both the Kylo Ren and over the Luke.
Yes.
All right. So I guess yeah, playable plus. And like if playable plus meta is red the meta build?
Red is the meta build.
Red.
This is not the reason why you're playing red.
No, we'll talk about the next level 3, and you'll see why people are high on this set at all. Like, trust me, you'll see.
We'll get there. There's a lot of good stuff coming out.
Yeah, all right. So next card, another Darth. Wait, no, we're not Darth Vader
this
yet.
one's Kylo Ren.
Oh, the disappointment.
He's so edgy.
329k. For each of your other red characters, this gains 500 power, so this is effectively 11k. The character opposite this gets -1 soul, so like that half good, half bad ability.
Usually bad.
Yeah, usually. When the battle opponent of this is reversed, you may pay 2. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent. That's both turns. And it has the Force effect at the start of your climax phase. So this is the first time we've encountered Force. I'll talk about what Force kind of does for the set in a bit. This Force is pay 1, discard a character card. At the start of your climax phase, you may pay that cost. If you do, choose 2 of your opponent's characters, stand them, and swap them. So basically what Force does is it lets you attack your opponent's back row, and it lets you screw up their formation pretty strongly. Like, this not only screws up decks like, say, Triad Primus, like that deck will lose its back row and then it will lose its formation. You can also get rid of cards like Brainstorms. You can get rid of valuable supports, and you can really mess with your opponent's what they think is safe, basically. This is just the best back row attack mechanism in the game, and any deck that relies on having specific cards in specific spots will also not appreciate playing against Force.
Yeah. It's notably, like, it's pretty fairly costed considering how powerful back row attacking can be in certain matchups. And for the most part, none of the characters really took a huge power budget hit to get these effects in the first place. Additionally, Force is a very pushed keyword in a sense, where there's a lot of ways to interact with the Force keyword in red and blue in particular. So
I feel like cost is so overcost. Because like at level 3, that's when using Force is actually the worst, right? At level 3 it's worst, but I think at level 3 it's costed the highest, right?
Yeah, it is. And that's because at level 3 the Force cards can swap anything, whereas the earlier Forces have level restrictions.
Oh, but it's just like I feel like they didn't have to do that because no one like using Force at level 3 is so bad anyways. It's not even worth it.
The only reason why you're generally using Force at level 3 is to get advantage from your incidental Force pumps that you get from your back rows.
Oh, okay.
There are some effects that activate when using Force. I don't think any of them are actually like broken or anything like. None of them read give a character clock kick or give a character extra burn. But
the most broken effects are like, no, there is, that one exists.
Oh, the burn one does exist. Never mind. The Emperor is exactly that. But I wasn't thinking.
No. Yeah, you have burn. That one's real. But you get like power pumps and draw ditch and all sorts of like pretty solid stuff that you guys get incidentally, which is perfectly reasonable for this kind of thing. As far as Kylo Ren is concerned, the -1 soul ability is historically awful. It's historically really bad. It prevents overswinging, which is generally the best way to prevent taking damage outside of like money. Otherwise, like, it's 11k, which isn't that big as far as level 3s are concerned, and the pay 2 deal 1 is like, it's a Dog Days card, right? Like Dog Days has that, and it's just not that impressive anymore for both turns. And Force is a good keyword, but this is not card that you will be spending stock and ditching to just pay 2 to burn once.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think this card is thoroughly disappointing. Very good flavor there, I think. And honestly speaking, I don't think I would play this in any deck unless you really were forcing Kylo Ren into your deck.
For me, the card gets a flat playable. It's not unreasonable to want to play it, but it's definitely weaker than your other options.
And I just think it's really bad. Like, it's not even your best level 3 red force user. And
No, but that's because the next card is. Oh my god.
I mean, like, not only is that card good, but this card is just really mediocre.
Underwhelming,
Anyway,
relatively speaking.
So,
But
wait,
let's-
is the next card
yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh yes. All right.
Okay.
So let's get to it. This is the good meta plus rating for the color. In all honesty,
the Big Daddy. This is Darth Sith Lord Darth Vader. 3295. When this is placed from hand to stage, draw 2, ditch 1. Force, pay 1, ditch character card. La-di-da, swap 2 characters. And Climax Combo, pay 2, ditch card from hand. When this attacks, if you have I Am Your Father, Climax.
I believe it's the stock soul.
It is just. I can't believe I'm saying this on a Weiss Schwarz podcast.
Daddy,
Yeah,
please.
stock soul.
It's the stock soul. If I Am Your Father is in the climax zone, you may pay that cost of pay 2, ditch 1, ditch 1 card. If you do, deal 1 damage, and this character gains 2,500 power and the ability to burn 1 on reverse.
Wait, stock soul? Oh my gosh, just go Chusa on 9 stock. That's actually kind of fun, actually.
So this card is super dank.
Yeah.
Super duper dank. This is entirely the reason to play Star Wars in red.
I think it's very good too, yeah.
Yeah. So as far as finishing abilities go, the ability to burn 1 twice, generically speaking, very powerful. It's the entire reason that you played Ilya, for instance, was the ability to have several characters have the ability to burn 1 twice. Unfortunately, this does get the other burn on reverse as opposed to both on attack, but it does get a random power pump to go with it.
Yes.
Additionally, reversing is an issue sometimes for some decks, right? Like their walls are too big, their level 3s are too big, and you can't get over it. He gets to solve his own problem by also having force attached to his body, so he actually can go ahead and attack back rows while he's at it.
Not only, yeah, like your opponent can no longer just counter over because, well, if you need to, Force will do that. That obviously costs more stock and it makes the triple Vader attack a lot harder. And Force still doesn't help you if your opponent doesn't have anything in the front row to reverse. Like if they don't have 3 cards in the front row, you're not going to mimic Gochu, so you're just going to be like Trouble Girl, which is like
Fine. It's
but
not great.
It's not great because Trouble Girl is free, whereas this is not.
But on a plus note, there are other things you can do with Force, even if there are no front row characters, that they still have 2 back row characters when we get to Emperor, but...
Yeah, of course. This card is very threatening. I don't foresee the Gochi user play of triple and whack to be like... I don't think that's what's going to happen with this card a lot. I think what's more likely is that you'll get 1, and that'll do a heap of damage, and then you'll probably have used Force, and that means the Emperor will go off and deal extra damage, which is great. And then you might be able to do it again the next turn. I don't foresee this as a one-shot finisher. I see it more like Japan sees Gochusa right now, which, because Japan. Like, I see it as a 2-turn clock that's pretty reliable.
Importantly, the set does offer you the ability to make it to 2 turns at level 3, using the previously mentioned Darth Vader. Being an anti-burn does mitigate a lot of the risk going into level 3 if you're still at low clock. It's just a lot harder to kill you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a combination of factors where you're using like one of these shots, plus like 1 or 2 of the other Vader, plus the Palpatine in the back row, and you end up creating a very formidable board state where it's not only hard to kill you, but you're dealing a bunch of extra incidental burn if you need it.
So my concern with it being a 2-turn kill plan, like, so the first turn you're very likely to get to do the full extent of the combo because you just entered level 3. They might still be at 2 and block. But like on the following turn, and they know this is your finisher, they're just gonna ram their things. You won't even be able to kill maybe anymore because burn 1 on attack is not great.
The thing about, like, even if they ram all their things, you still get at least 1 burn.
Yeah, but for pay 2 dish. But I guess if you're trying to kill them, that doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter. Importantly, even if they ram in their entire front row, if they still have cards in the back row, and we'll get to the Emperor specifically later, but you can still use Force to swap their back row cards to trigger the Emperor. So you can still get all of your extra incidental burn in just because you're playing Darth Vader in the front row.
You can't move them if they have empty slots. You can't move them to the front.
You cannot swap to empty slots. You have to choose 2 characters.
Yeah, okay.
But of note, Darth Vader himself isn't huge, which is up and downside. It means that it actually is very hard to completely ram in your front row, because he's actually very big on offense, but not so much on defense with Palpatine in the back row. So it's not like it's going to be easy to necessarily ram in your entire front row while still dealing the damage you need to win the game.
Yeah.
Especially with, again, the previous Vader mitigating a lot of the best finishers in Weiss.
Yes, of course. I still think this is just a straight good meta. I don't know about good plus. It's not as good as some cards, but it's definitely a very threatening card.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely the reason to be playing red over any other color, at least in this set, and one of the reasons to play the set in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, good meta.
Yep.
Alright.
Alrighty. That's it for the double rares.
Okay. So we're moving on back to the disappointments. Back to the disappointments? Is it Kylo Ren? No, it's Darth Vader.
It's Darth Vader. Darth Vader has generally been very good in this set.
This next card is very solid. It is it is a 001k. It is a brainstorm. So pay 1 tap self, flip 4 cards over. After each climax you reveal, choose a character in waiting room, add it to hand. And when another character is reversed in battle, choose a character. That character gains 500 for the turn. So if you read if you watched our thing yesterday, well, our other thing, then you would have heard our spiel about how this is not a particularly color-focused set on the front side, in that you generally a lot of cards don't actually care too much about color, but then every card that does care about color cares about color in a big way, and therefore you have to focus your deck around certain colors, or else you're going to lose out on some of the best cards in each color.
Notably, if you're playing the blue-red Force version, you will play this as your Brainstormer, as opposed to the Luke Brainstormer that's in blue, which is fine. Also of note, every single Brainstormer in Star Wars they're all pay 1 tap this Brainstormers, every single one. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your back row slots. You don't if your back row can tap to do additional things, you're better off playing those for the sake of playing those oftentimes, because you're never going to be stressed for that. The first effect is just like a generically decent effect. It's never been broken. It's always been fine. It makes combat math a little bit awkward for your opponent sometimes. That's really it.
Yes. It's not limited either. You can do it multiple times a turn if that's ever relevant.
Yeah. So this card is just a solid playable, leaning on playable plus, but generally speaking, these brainstorms are always about there. I think also of note, there are no spammable brainstormers in Star Wars, but hasn't been relevant in a long time.
I think this card is just straight good. Like, it's a brainstorm.
Like, playable plus is where I generally put brainstormers anyways, so. Especially ones that are, like, super generic like this. It's just, you're going to be playing 2 or 3 of these in your deck, period.
I think they're usually good enough to just get the playable, to get the good rating, rather.
Sure.
But, like, whatever. Not a big deal.
Alright, now disappointment.
Wait, Kylo Ren's not black? Oh, no, black guy's the other guy. Oh, okay.
Have you watched the movies?
Oh, man.
Damn, son.
Okay. Anyways.
Damn. Alright, so Mask Off Kylo Ren's another 001k. This card in particular it's just
it's fine.
It's so uninteresting. It's like it's a 0/0 bomb, and then on reverse you can pay Ricky cost, pay 1, clock yourself, and if you do, you salvage a character.
So the biggest strike against this card is, in all honesty, the fact that the set has a real Ricky.
2 actually. It has 2 real Rickies.
Yeah. So this is kind of awkward. That you're probably, for the most part, jamming 4 Rickies in any version of the deck that you're playing, any deck at all.
Yeah.
So this one kind of lost a lot of its utility as a result, and I don't think you need a 0/0 bomb necessarily in
No, I don't
in a
think
red
so.
deck per se. You have other decent zero options. That said, this card is still perfectly playable. It's fine. The issue with playing this kind of effect is that although the set does have a Ricky, it does not have an Asusa effect, so you don't get to mill yourself that quickly.
That is a noted downside. I do think that the lack of Asa in both this set and the other Vivid Strike set are ultimately what's going to be the set's downfalls, but we can talk about that in those sets casts.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, but this card is incredibly boring.
It's a playable card, regardless. Alright, Dark Commander, Kylo Ren. It's a 1/04K. If you have 3 or more other red characters, this gains the ability, when this is reversed, level 1 bomb your opponent. Like, sure, whatever. And force, discard a red character. At the start of your climax phase, you may pay cost. If you do, swap one of your opponent's level 1 characters and the character opposite this. So it has to be, the character opposite this is not the level 1 character you pick. You also have to pick a level 1 character. Then you swap them, and then you get to, well, kill the card you swap, basically.
The way I see this card is that it's a cheap way to trigger force if you need it in the early phases of the game. It's more generically speaking just gonna be a level 1 bomb in red. Like,
I like the fact that this card can like force a brainstorm, kill the brainstorm, and then force your opponent to deal with a level 1 bomb. That's something which is pretty cool.
yeah. Notably, it's a little bit bigger than traditional level 1 bombs, even with the extra force keyword, because it is conditioned on the becoming a bomb. Notably, every Kylo Ren, because it has the Force Awakens trait, which is one of the decks, has a red condition attached to it to make it locked out of that deck. Not everyone, but the vast majority of them.
It's actually a little unfortunate, but yeah, that is how it is. This card is actually cool for the reason I mentioned. There are obviously issues with it, but no, I'm happy to give this a fairly reasonable playable rating.
Yeah, it's perfectly playable. Its mileage is going to vary depending on how much you think level 1 bombs are good in a certain metagame. My current stance is that level 1 bombs are kind of weak at the moment. Not everyone's really trying to wall. Most decks are just trying to jam their costless, non-reversing advantage and then call it a day. So,
yeah. Level 1 bombs are like just. I think even like half a year ago, they were significantly better than they are now.
Yeah.
And now they're like everyone's just like literally level 1. Like it's just like if you get your plus combo off, you just move on with your life. And if they bomb it, you like expected them to die anyways. So
yeah.
Pretty much.
The real reason why you're playing this card is as a back row assassin kind of thing, and it's very good at doing that.
that's true.
That I agree with. All right. Next card, Blitz, Darth Vader. So no, wait, that's not it. For each of your other red characters, this gains 500 power. When this is reversed in battle, your opponent may put a character from your waiting room on top of the deck and force. So discard a red character, exactly the same as Kylo Ren's. You may choose the character opposite this and then another level 1 or lower character, stand and swap them. So this is Kylo Ren, but I think it's probably worse.
I'm inclined to say it's a little bit worse. I don't like giving my opponent free damage when they reverse it. It's only 600, 500 power, 6,500 power, and you don't actually have a lot of good support at level 1 and 0 in the red deck necessarily. You have a couple global 5s, and that's about it. So,
Yeah.
And you also don't have very powerful counters in the red deck because stormtroopers or something.
It's unfortunate, but what can you do?
So, if you want a generic 1/0 beater, this is probably your best bet, but I don't think you need this, and you might be better off filling with the armory card, to be honest.
I think so too. It's just like a really whatever card. I think it's playable. Probably just playable. Still just playable, but like worse than the bomb, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a little bit worse than the bomb, because the bomb is at least forcing your opponent to do certain things that are kind of awkward to get around it.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't really force any of that, and your opponent's actually rewarded if they manage to get over it, where
More or less.
the bomb does not.
Yes.
All right, the level 1 combo that you're playing in red.
Mm-hmm. So this level 1 combo, tainted, no, that one different, wait.
Tainted by Darkness.
Yes. Tainted by Darkness, Darth Vader, 1045. When this is placed from hand to stage, it just gains 1,500 for the turn. And Climax Combo, when the battle opponent of this is reversed, if you are beaten, is in the Climax zone, you may choose a character in your waiting room and add it to your hand. So the running joke with this one is that the Climax is a Persona 5 all-out attack. That is pretty much exactly what it looks like. And unfortunately, it didn't get a Star Wars rare, so I can't add it to my foil all-out attack page, and that makes me very sad. But I don't have anything interesting to say about the card itself. It is a generic on-reverse salvage combo. That's, I think, markedly worse than the search combos, which give you incidental first and second run compression. And this card doesn't even get particularly big, so it needs some support to really get there. It's a game.
It gets to about 7k, which is medium. You're going to be within counter range of a lot of cards without proper back row support.
I don't think it's good enough to kill most decks that care about level 1 field.
Exactly. You're definitely not going to get over the majority of field decks with this, but it's a perfectly serviceable level 1 combo. There are other ways to get advantage at level 1 with Star Wars, so you don't have to lean on this very hard necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely. Regardless, this is still just a playable card, I think. Maybe
Yeah.
your best.
That art is so nice, though. Holy crap.
Which one? The 1-0 or the Climax?
The 1-0. I mean, the Climax is nice too, but it's just like the detail.
I like the
of that
1-0.
art.
It's great. It's really nice. It's good stuff.
All right.
Anyway.
Next up.
All right, next card. Supreme Leader Snoke. I bet you remember who this guy is, right? Right? He's 2145, assist, level X, and when this is placed from hand to stage, you may discard a Climax from hand. If you do, salvage a character with force in your waiting room.
I mean, it's very reminiscent of the not the Tulever, the Nisekoi support that you used to play as an extra Climax out at late game, and it also just incidentally gives power, although it was a little bit more relevant for that deck.
Which Nisekoi support are we talking about?
2-1 Marika.
Isn't that one like that one's a plus though?
No, it's just
That
your
one's
Climax
blocked.
salvage.
No, it's take a damage salvage.
One
Is it Claw?
blocked you.
Oh, sorry.
That one-
Never mind. It's not that one.
100%.
I'm thinking of something else. Doesn't matter. This card is fine. I don't know if you want to play this because for one more stock, you can have a way more fun back row.
Agreed. I don't think this is played simply because the Emperor, the next card we're going to talk about, is that much better.
This card ultimately is still playable. I can see a justification as a one-of in case you need to just have the level of support, you need to save a stock at some point, or you want the extra hand fix that the Emperor doesn't provide.
Yep.
But ultimately, the Emperor is one of the reasons to be in the deck as well.
Yes. Absolutely. All right, next card, the Emperor, the one we've just been talking about. So this is maybe, I think this might be one of the reasons to play deck, to be honest. It's a 3/2 advanced summon. So if you're 4 more red characters, this gets a -1 level in hand, 2,000 power to all red characters in front, and the ability, when the battle opponent of this is reversed, you may look at the top card of your deck and put it either on top or in the waiting room. So like, pretty good scry effects. And pay 1, tap this. When you use Force, if this is standing, you may pay cost. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent.
So again, notably, Star Wars only has pay 1, tap this brainstorms, and outside of green, they don't have tap 2 standing characters as an effect. So, except in red. They actually do have one in red. It's an event. But we'll get to that event later. So for the most part, you're almost never going to have this not standing, which means that every turn, you can pay 1 ditch, kill a back row, and burn 1 at level 2, starting from level 2. And that's one of the big reasons to play the deck. You have a bunch of incidental burn damage going on constantly, and you also get to control your deck a little bit. If you know the state of your deck compression, every time you kill something, you can take a scry, control your next trigger, or like add to your compression by milling damage that might be going to your opponent's turn. It's also a 2k support. Like, that's pretty big.
Yeah, all of that is true and very good.
These abilities do stack, which means that if you have 2 Emperors in the back row, and a Vader in the center, you will scry twice.
Yes, you will. I think that's pretty.
That's a
It's pretty
heavy
tough.
stock investment. I don't think you're doing that, but
Yeah, I also agree with that. It's very unfortunate that neither this nor the Advanced Summon Vader will refund any stock. I've probably been spoiled a bit by Guardian because that Lucia is not a fair card. But this card, I just compare it mentally to that, and it's not quite as good. But that is literally the best level 2 support in the game. This one is very good as well. So if you can slam this and slam the Advanced Summon Darth Vader, it'll be a pretty nice 12k with some incidental abilities on the upside. And you can, yeah, it's just a really solid card. I actually think this is like probably good minus meta, to be honest. I really like the Advanced Summon supports right now.
I agree with the sentiment. I think the supportability is super powerful, and the early play condition is completely free. This is one of the reasons to stay mono red in the 4 stack as opposed to being red blue. Although
Yes.
this card is still pretty decently positioned, even if you're going into level 3 in the blue red build, because you can still just slam it at level 3 and it'll be generally fine because you're going to be putting Darth Vader's in front of this anyways.
Yes.
But to get the full value, you are encouraged to stay mono red as much as possible with the card. And it just works well with the entire game plan of the deck, which is just incidental burn damage when you get to level 3.
Yeah,
Well,
I like this card a lot, actually. Holy shit.
Yeah, and he gets to join the circle of every color except for yellow has a level 3 back row. So he is one of them.
Neat.
Good card.
Yep, very solid. All right, the first of the army cards.
Yes. All these army cards are kind of whatever. Zero's wait.
Oh, this one's not the army card.
No, this is not an army
This
card.
is the
No,
support. This is the support for the army card.
the support for the army card, which is not that great, really. Yeah. So it's what can I say? It's an army card. It what do you want me to say? This card is so lame.
Yeah, it's just a glow of 5, and you can search troopers. You don't play this. You don't need it. Like ever.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, if you wanted a global 5 at level 0, there's a better one, like, next.
Yeah. Yeah, literally the next card. Yeah. So
This is niche.
card- niche because it's in the meme deck. Next card, Captain Phasma. It's a 00500. I bet you remember this guy from The Force Awakens too, right?
Like, it's a grill.
Oh, this is the female stormtrooper, is it?
Yes.
Oh,
Is she
nice.
hot? Is she hot?
No.
God, this is what she looks like in the movie.
The 00500, with tap this, give all your other red characters gain 500, and tap this, give a character 500. No, it doesn't state a red character, but we get it. Like, we get what this is trying to do.
Yeah, this is going to be how you pump your Darth Vader to 8k at level 1, if you need to. It's perfectly reasonable. It's not very exciting, but you'll probably play some number anyways. Because of the nature of the set, you're not actually strapped for too many slots in Star Wars. You do have a lot of flexibility to play with.
Yeah, I think this card is good with the level 1 combo, and just kind of good in general. It will get phased out once you slam down the Emperor, but that's fine. These cards always tend to do that, and that doesn't make them that doesn't make them significantly worse. They're a little worse, sure, but whatever.
It's still playable, like,
How do you know Captain Plasma's a grill?
because she's in the movie and she speaks in the movie.
Damn, I want to see her in the next movie without the suit on.
You're a weird kid. Anyway, next card. Skillful Strategy, Darth Vader. It's a 0015. If all your other characters are red, or rather if all of your characters are red, this gains 2k power, so this is just a 3-5. And then at the start of your climax phase, you may discard a red character from hand's waiting room. If you do, choose the character opposite this and an opponent's level 0 or lower character, then stand and swap them. This may as well read Brainstorm Killer, because that is largely what this card does.
Yeah, and it's super good at that. Like, holy Jesus.
I really appreciate that they have this 3-5 oversize, which it has value in the mid and late game through more than just like being a color fixer in a deck that doesn't need color fixing.
Yeah.
Like this card kills your opponent's brainstorms. It may as well be an event that does that for what it reads. And if you like pepper your deck with cards that just have this sort of effect on them, your opponent will have a big problem getting any brainstorms online, and that is something that a lot of people cannot play without. And yeah, really strong.
Yeah, this effect is really powerful. It's probably going to be your go-to level 0 beater in the red deck anyways. 3/5 is huge for level 0. Unfortunately, the runner is in yellow, so you do not get to play it in the red deck. But this card does a perfectly reasonable impression regardless of getting you extra value where you otherwise shouldn't be able to anyways. This is playable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the runner a free runner? I don't know.
It is a free runner, but it has downside on play.
Oh, would you play that in the red deck though?
You would not play the runner in the red deck because the red deck actually, you're already jamming for the Ricky in the red deck, and then your red card count actually starts to matter at that point. Because almost all of the force conditions before level 3 require you to discard a red character, whereas at level 3 you can discard any character, but they have an additional stock cost associated to them. So it's a little bit interesting how the deck building ends up working out. You could still jam the runner if you wanted to.
Yeah, I just don't know.
But the runner might also, if it's a mill runner, I have to double check, because if it's a mill runner, then you obviously can't do it at all.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right. So the next card that we got to talk about is this guy's such a disappointment.
Yeah.
Persistent about the outcome, Kylo Ren, 002K. When this is placed from hand to stage, you may mill 3. This is actually one of the better mill cards in red, but the other effect is a drop search effect, so pay 1, ditch a card if you do salvage a red character.
The whole card is pretty synergistic in that the mill can feed its own salvage.
Yeah, like it's fine. My slight issue with this is you're drawing from a resource that you already have access to via your brainstorm.
Yeah.
And I guess the 1/0 combo, so it's less good than it would have been. But I think that playing a couple of this just as a mill 3 is very reasonable. It's just a fine card.
I also agree. Notably, most of the colors do have issue getting through a refresh if you're in a poor position, and this is going to help you get there in those circumstances. So the card is still perfectly playable. All right. Next up is a 1/1/25 counter, but only in red.
General Hux, another character I'm sure you all remember from The Force Awakens. 1/1/25 counter if you're countering for a red character.
Yeah, the card is fine. Unfortunately, your level 1 board is probably pretty weak. So it's not really something you're going to be playing very often, unless you're trying to jam the 1/1/065. But even then, that still seems kind of questionable. So the card is still playable. It's just unlikely to be very good, synergistically speaking, with the rest of the deck.
Yes, certainly. Don't be overconfident, Darth Vader. It's another backup. It's a sack counter. So your sack counters to kill an opponent's character that's higher level than your opponent. So staple card in the red deck. I think that you can make an argument to play it in, say, like the blue deck or whatever as well, especially if you're playing, like, I guess, the red brainstorm. But that has its own issues, clearly.
Yeah. It is generic. You can actually play in whatever deck you want. It doesn't have any particular conditions attached to it, but there are some issues involving trying to find it in other versions, in other Star Wars decks. I can't see myself not playing at least 1 or 2 in the red deck. Your early plays aren't exactly big, but stock is a very tight resource in the red deck, so...
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, this card is playable.
Mm-hmm.
Man, how far we've come from when this card used to be, like, good meta.
Jeez. It has been a long time. Carrying out the Dying Wish, Kylo Ren. Is this the card that says, I will finish what you started?
Yes.
When the battle opponent of this is reversed, you may sack this card if Show Me is in your climax zone. If you do, choose one character in your waiting room, add it to your hand, then choose one Kylo Ren in your hand.
It's
This
level
is the
3.
level 3. Yes. So the level 3 is good for something, I guess. And put it rested in this card slot. So you don't get another attack, you just get to advance summon it. Now, the way you advance summon is by using the secondary effect, which is when this is reversed, if the level of the battle opponent opposite this is higher than your opponent's level, you may reverse that character. So it's an anti-change bomb, which makes it a fixture in the red deck.
Yeah, as far as like I was saying, your early plays aren't exactly big, and you do have the anti-change counter, which you're mostly going to be using for the sack effect. This is your stock efficient, card efficient way of dealing with early plays in the red deck.
You know what my least favorite fact about this card is?
What?
It has just no the level 3 has no come and play effects.
Nope.
So that like why? I get that you get some more you get more flexibility by being able to get a card from your waiting room and then playing the card from your hand. Especially because this means you can take the Kylo Ren from your waiting room and put it onto the field from your hand, but like there aren't like you're not taking any advantage of that, and that is
There is additional upside to the card though. If you are playing the Climax Combo for whatever reason, and you don't want to early play your Kylo Ren, or you don't have it for whatever reason, you can still sack it to prevent reverse effects from your opponent.
yes.
If for some reason it got over something naturally, which is rare, but that is a fringe scenario that can happen. But yeah, this card is perfectly fine. You're going to play some number in the red deck. Notably, the red deck probably plays more 2s than most people are used to.
What if you like tri-field this card, play Climax, summon 3 -1 soul cards on the field, and then just don't take damage anymore?
You should probably play Kantai.
No, but this does it at level 2.
Kantai can do it at level 2, no?
It's a level 3 card. The
There's
-2
a way
soul.
to early play it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I just don't know. Like, if you actually minus soul field and then like stay it to a little bit longer, build stock to do Darth Vader. I don't know if that's better than what's going on right now, but I'm just saying that's kind of interesting.
I mean, there is an argument that if you're not playing the level 1 advantage engine, you could theoretically play this as your second Climax slot. Because effectively you're locked into the stock soul at the very least to play Darth Vader.
Oh, you need a Climax. Right? Oh, never mind. Sucks.
Yeah, that's the issue. You're mostly playing this for the secondary effect.
Oh no! Why is it Climax Combo?
Yeah. All right, this card actually has nothing to do with the red deck at all.
Yeah. So this is a Stormtrooper. Pay 1. When this is placed from stage to waiting room, you can pay that cost. If you do, search your library for up to 1 new name Finn and put it rested on any slot on stage. So this is flavor because Finn was this Stormtrooper, obviously. Yeah, and new name Finn is a 1055 if you have like Force Awakens cards with a climax combo. Like not even a bad climax combo. It's literally Mikan, I believe.
Yeah, it's literally Mikan.
For Force Awakens characters.
Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily mean this is a card you really care to play.
Yeah.
It's fine, I guess.
It's fine. I mean, you can use it to theoretically play it early, but I'm not sure what real value you get from doing that.
Yeah, I'm not convinced you get a lot from it either. It's fine, though. It's like, it's not the worst thing ever.
For me, I think this card is niche. This actually forces a little bit more build around than I'm comfortable doing for the Force Awakens deck in general.
Kind of whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Like, I've got no issue with the fact that it's whatever.
Yeah. These next 2 cards are the exact same card.
They just have different names. They're both 0015s with you may have as many copies of cards with the same name in your deck as you want, and for each of your other same name card in the front row, this gains 2k power.
They missed a real window here by not having the flavor text of the First Order Stormtrooper not be traitor. Like a real opportunity missed.
So, objectively speaking, First Order Stormtrooper is the superior one because he is the Spinger, and the Spinger is pretty baller.
Yeah, yeah. If you're playing this version, notably this is another 0/0 filler option of choice in the red deck. If you have enough of these are 5/5s. That's fine. Those are fine. You don't care that much. The army deck cards are actually surprisingly playable in the base red deck. So it's really rare that you're going to be playing actually using that first ability though to abuse playing as many copies as you want. To be
Yeah,
honest.
it's not common. The card is more than fine, I think.
Yeah.
Like in its own deck, and also because it's the Spinger.
Yeah. They're still niche, but
It's the
they
Spinger.
are
It's
more
great,
playable in the main deck than it would first appear.
of course. All right then.
I appreciate that all like the random like military guys all got their own cards actually.
It is kind of cool, hey? Admiral Piet. He is 0015 from Return of the Jedi. When this is placed from stage to waiting room, you may discard a card from hand. If you do, choose a Star Destroyer in your waiting room and add it to your hand. We'll get to Star Destroyer later, don't worry. It's a cool little advantage engine. And when this is placed from hand to stage, pay one, ditch a card from hand. If you do, search your deck for up to one red character, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck.
Yep. Both of these effects are fine. It's your generic drop searcher, and this is also going to be probably your supplementary engine in the main red deck, and it's part of the reason why the Stormtrooper cards are at all playable in the main red deck, because the Darth Vader itself is fine, but not overwhelming, and this kind of helps you bridge that gap if you can't get reverses in certain matchups.
Yes, agreed. I think that the card you'll most likely be searching is a 1/0, but that's fine, right?
Yeah, that's fine. But like the whole engine, this is part of the engine that you can play as sort of an alternative to Darth Vader or as a supplement to the Darth Vader. In
My
either
issue
case.
with this, my issue with this engine is it disallows you from brainstorming, but I guess you're just replacing one engine with another. So
Yeah,
whatever.
and regardless, like you're not like hampered that badly, necessarily losing the brainstorm for a turn.
Yeah, it seems all right.
Yeah, this is actually playable.
Okay.
Despite
Next
like
card.
all these niche things going on, it's actually like a real engine that you can choose to play.
Sure. Next card. Grand Moff Wilhoff Tarkin. He's from A New Hope. When this is placed from hand to stage, you give red character X power, where X is 500 times the number of your other red characters. So other, not all. Which means this is probably only giving like 2k max. Not
Yeah,
probably.
probably closer to 15 or 1,000 most of the time, but it does have theoretical higher ceiling in exchange for a lower floor. I don't think you need this card,
I don't think so either.
but so the
Kinda
card,
whatever.
I'm gonna give it a playable minus.
Seems fine, I guess, yeah. Playable minus seems alright for the card. I don't think I'd ever put it in, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
really fault anyone for doing so either.
Yeah, it's just like if you're trying to really force Darth Vader's through.
Yep, next card. These next two cards are the same. Next two? Next,
Yeah, next
maybe. Yep. So the superior one is the Scout Trooper, which is the next card. And that is because the Scout Trooper has an SR version. So
He also has
he's
like these sick like sunglasses kind of thing going on in this hood.
Yeah, so he's a 1/4 off. When this attacks, it gains X power, where X is 500 times the number of your other red characters. So it usually attacks as a 6/5, which is fine. Like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean they're army cards. They generally serve a purpose to fill. These are both fine. You're not going to be. It's important that you play them if you're jamming the Star Destroyer engine, because this is your engine. But
Yes.
they're reasonably sized when you're using the event plus a climax, which is kind of what matters on offense. And when you're trading resources using the event, you're still coming out a little bit ahead because of the efficiency of the event itself.
Definitely.
So this card is actually playable because it's part of that engine. It's actually more playable than it is niche in my mind.
Okay. So next card is Threat of Darkness, 1/6k Darth Vader. When this attacks, if you have 3 or more other red characters, it's an 8k, and it has red Encore.
This card is not good. You're going to have to encore it way more than you'd like because it only has the power on attack. I would not play this card in almost any
That's
circumstance.
so weird. Why would you play it?
Yeah.
I think these type of cards are borderline bad.
Yeah, that's like where I generally place these kind of cards. It's too small to really abuse the encore effect, and it's only good enough on offense, so it's like really awkward. Because you just don't want to be encoring these cards.
That's bad, doesn't it? Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Like, what
I
can
mean,
you
it's
do?
fine. You have bad cards. It happens.
Dictator of the Dark Side, Emperor, 2175. When it attacks, if the level of the character opposite is 3 or higher, this gains X, where X is 1, blah, 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 blah. It's usually going to be 5k. And then Force, pay 1, ditch a card. At the start of your opponent's climax phase, you may pay cost. If you do, choose a character opposite this, and one of your opponent's other characters stand and swap them.
So notably, it has the level 3 Force effect because it's meant to be a level 3 killer. You have a 2/1 anti-level bomb. Do not play this.
I would like to point out that this does pull up things like the Emperor and Lucia.
Yes,
which is really annoying. Like if you do that,
savages back rows. But
I'm gonna be so pissed if you do that.
You could play it as a tech option if you think your meta is going to be infested with, for instance, other Star Wars decks.
That is the worst. Why would you do that? That's so mean. What did Lucia ever do to you?
Like terrible, terrible things.
Yeah, she probably won the game, but that's not the point.
But if you're expecting like a bunch of like powerful early like level 3 supports, like to an extent even sets like a Log Horizon, this could be preferable to the 2/1 anti-level bomb at level 2. But in general, I'm inclined to think that most early plays tend to be the front row variety, and you'd rather have the more efficient 2/1 anti-level bomb than this.
Absolutely.
This card gets more of a niche rating than a playable rating. Not so much build around, so much as it fulfills a far more specialized role.
Yes. Okay. So let's move on to the next card then.
This is the Star Destroyer engine.
Yes, this is the silly card. So Star Destroyer has it has some pretty interesting text on it. It's a 1/2 event. Choose one of your standing characters and rest it. If you rest 2 characters this way, choose up to 2 cost 0 or lower characters with Trooper in the name, and put them in separate from your waiting room. Put them in separate slots on the stage.
And then all of your characters gain 1,000 power until end of turn.
Yes.
So this is going to be one of your engines, if you choose to play it, either supplementary or primary. You have that option available to you in red. If you're choosing this to play this as your primary engine, you are also probably playing the 2 soul. So, more power to you.
Yep.
So, and this is my for the video. This event existed in a similar form before for Terraformers, where it's actually literally the reason to play the Terraformers army deck. Being able to pull copies from your deck, however, is much more powerful than your waiting room, and also need to rest only 1 card as opposed to 2. In exchange, you do get the global power pump, which can be relevant because your characters are much bigger on offense than defense, and you're generally okay trading resources when you're abusing a very efficient event as your engine. Also of note, unlike Terraformers, this is bondable,
Yes,
so you have that
bondable.
going as well.
So you get like a ditch engine as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
Isn't Terraformers one summon 3?
Yes, from deck.
Dude, that's way more busted. Like
It also only taps 1, and it is a more busted card. I agree.
He's right. It is a more busted card, but
like this is just a sad version. Like the Terraformers was actually like it makes a deck like playably good.
It's the reason why you play Terraformers army deck over, let's say, another army deck. The other reason is that you have a busted level 2 game in Terraformers, but I digress.
Busted.
14k claw kickers that you fetch from deck.
Shit, yeah, it's pretty good.
Like again, it's a very powerful level 2 game, but I digress. The Star Destroyer engine is perfectly reasonable. You're getting back again the 1/0/4/5s that get big on attack. You can also use this in combination with the Darth Vader to give it an extra 1,000 power while fulfilling empty slots. You don't have to necessarily use every slot on the stage. If you want to just play over something in the back row, for instance, the Admiral Piet that you use to bond it in the same turn. So you have options, but yeah, it's a generally generic flex engine card that you can play. It's again playable rather than niche because it actually is a perfectly reasonable engine. You're essentially paying 1 or paying 2 for a +2 in the context of the deck. It depends on how you value the power.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable way to put it. I think I actually like it might be better suited at niche anyway, simply because it only does go in 1 deck. But
Sure.
I could be talked around to something else, I guess.
I mean, niche is perfectly reasonable. The way you use the engine is going to be a little bit different depending on how you decide to build the whole deck, though.
Yes.
I have a hard time visualizing the power making it a +2 though. Like in what context would that do?
It depends on whether or not you're playing like the Darth Vader at level 1 as well.
But then, like, if you do this play, you can only do one Darth Vader, which means that your Climax combo is a 1-for-1 trade-off with the Climaxes you play, right?
Yeah.
So either way, the exchange out of all of this is a +1.
Generally.
Yeah.
I think it is just a +1 because it's 2 cost, but that's fine. Like
The +1 is perfectly fine here.
Yeah.
I've never issued with just +1. That's still fine.
Yeah.
But the Roach one's a +2. Oh,
The Roach one is broken. It's also compression because it searches from deck.
feels bad.
But you have to keep in mind, like, every time I'm playing the Roach event, I'm, like, counting constantly to see how many of them are left in my deck to make sure I don't, like, miss.
Have you ever summoned 1 for paying 3? Oh my god, feels bad.
I'm counting.
Because if you don't, you can screw yourself up real bad.
It's bad. Anyways. This event is pretty dank.
Yeah. Thank God. The Dark Side, 3/3 event. Climax,
Yes.
of course, Climax Combo.
Yes.
Choose one of your red characters. That character gains 2k power for the turn.
Climax Combo.
Damage 1 plus the number of Star Killer in your waiting room. Star Killer's 2 soul.
Yes. Yes, it
This is the first time we've had a Climax that does not combo with a character, but combos with an event.
So, this card is pretty freaking funny.
I really like what they've done with this card, to be quite honest.
It's really interesting, actually, how the card ends up playing, too. Because theoretically, it's really, really good when there's no Star Killers in your waiting room at all, because then it's like a 3/3 2k pump plus burn 1, which is like Sengoku counter.
I wouldn't call that good, but I would certainly call that, like, playable.
But notably, like, the Sengoku counter requires your character to reverse. Although, I guess it's more comparable to the TD Sengoku counter, which I think you pay like 4 or something to burn.
Yeah.
But then this card can also all the way go up to like a burn 2 or burn 3, where it's reasonable, and then it goes to burn 4 or burn 5, where it becomes bad.
Yeah, like, you definitely don't want this to burn 5. That's really bad.
So, it's very funny. It's very interesting. I feel like if you're playing the Star Destroyer engine and going ham on it, you're probably playing the Star Killer as your Climax slot, which means you probably play one of this in your deck somewhere.
It's more amusing than good, I think.
I agree. But I think, like...
I think this is actually bad, honestly speaking.
I think it's fine. I think it's costed pretty fairly.
Deal 1? That's so bad.
But it's also, like, theoretically going 1-for-1 if you can counter over something. For instance, if you're swimming in stock for however you manage to do it, and you counter over using the Kylo Ren, you could pay another 2 stock to burn another 1.
Dude, pay 3, deal 1 is so bad. I would never play that in like a normal deck.
But would you pay 5 to burn 1 twice?
No, because you can pay 2.
Not either.
But you can pay 2 ditch 1 to burn 1 twice, so...
It's not getting any better, man.
Anyways, the card is probably bad, but it doesn't make it not funny, and it doesn't make me not amused every time I look at it.
Yeah, right. That's fair enough. But,
I'm gonna be like overwhelmingly positive and give it niche still.
I don't think you can make a case for this card, but
I mean, some guy's gonna try to use this as his win condition. Like, you just know some guy in like rural Texas that's gonna use it as his win condition in his Kylo Ren waifu deck. So it's niche for me if you get to.
Hell, man. Fine.
All
like,
right.
It isn't unplayable. It just doesn't seem like a card I'd ever want to play.
This card is hilarious. This card gets tanked meme rating.
Oh god, this is Death Star 3/4. If there are 4 more climaxes in your waiting room, you may choose a red character in your hand and put it in the waiting room. If you do, kill everything.
What?
Put all characters in the waiting room.
Dank. It's
so I would like to
wipe.
point out this does actually out Reinhardt. This is one of very few cards that does.
Dank. Yeah.
You know what else this outs? Fuka. This Shrek's Vivid Strike, if you ever get it off.
Uh,
Not that it'll ever get played, but
no, you should never actually play this card, but it doesn't stop it from being positively dank.
I'm so. Oh, these cards are so ridiculous. I really like the fact it exists. I like the flavor. I like it's the Death Star, right? You're building up all your resources to fire it and destroy everyone. And then when you do, it does destroy everyone. But in the end, you lost nearly as much as your opponent usually.
I mean, they blew up your Death Star, so
Yeah, your Death Star got blown up as well.
the cost is pretty expensive. You're paying 4, ditching 2, basically, to do it. But relative to, like, let's say the Persona board wipe, or not Persona, Evangelion, right?
Yeah.
Way cheaper
That's
than the
the thing.
Evangelion one. Way cheaper.
Oh, it's actually not that much cheaper because you need to discard a card, which is effectively 2 stock, which makes them equivalent. But
I think I'd rather
it is
discard a
cheaper
character
because
most of the
having
time.
an extra card is a lot easier than having 2 extra stock.
Yeah, especially
that.
when you're probably jamming a lot of your stock onto other events in this color.
Yeah.
Notably, Star Wars is also an event set. It has a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But this card is dank meme. I would not recommend it.
It's a great flavor win, I think, but I definitely would not recommend playing this card.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of want to give the next card a dank meme just because of some very important text in it, but
This proves there's going to be a set 2, guys. So lightsaber duel 2/2. Look at the top card of your deck. Put it either on top or in the waiting room. Choose up to 1 character in your waiting room with Luke in name, and up to 1 character in your waiting room with either Vader or Anakin in name, and return them to your hand.
notably
So-
there are 0 cards in the set with Anakin in the name.
Like, they didn't even do a card of that very brief. You know that very brief scene at the end of Return of the Jedi where Anakin has joined Blue Ghost Obi-Wan
Yeah.
and all of them, and they're all like laughing, and then it does the circle fade to stars. Like, they didn't even do a scene of that. Whereas freaking old Mark Hamill, got his own card and Climax Combo. Like, what the hell? That's such wasted potential.
But regardless, there are no cards with Anakin in the name in the set. So, if
I mean,
this
it could
doesn't,
be flavor. It could be flavor.
it could
I
be
don't-
flavor. But if
It is flavor
it is
because
flavor.
Anakin is Darth Vader. Spoiler for anyone who has watched movies 1, 2, and most of 3 without watching the rest of them.
I mean, 30-year-old movie. If you haven't known by now, get Shrek'd.
It's like, you can't blame me anymore. Like, that's just you not watching Star Wars.
But regardless, a 2/2 salvage 2 event, generally fine. It also scries as the additional upside to being conditioned salvage. This event, if you choose to build around it, which is why I'm going to give it the niche rating, pushes you to the blue-red force deck, which is fine. The deck is fine. But that's what it pushes you towards. But like, there's the blue force deck, the red force deck, and there's also the blue-red hybrid force deck, and this is that card. This is for that deck. If they ever
Trying to get something, yeah. So yeah, the hybrid deck is cool, I think.
it's a very interesting deck from like a deck building perspective, trying to put it together. But this is for the hybrid deck. This is gonna be one of the important pieces, I think, for the hybrid deck. Not that you're maxing on it; it's just like fairly important at the top end. Also, likely if they ever make a second set, which means prequels, get their own sets. Anakin will probably be blue to match the general trend of how they've been doing their color
There'll be
organization.
blue and red. There'll
Yeah,
be blue and
There'll be
Anakins, I
blue
think.
and red Anakins, but interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It does point towards that, but with that, that's all the red cards. I think red has the solid makings of a strong deck. It has the top end.
It has
The
the
mid-
top
the
end. It has a
The mid is really questionable, though. Like, I don't think you get enough power to leverage that Climax Combo very well. I don't think Force is actually strong enough. Like, you're discarding cards with every single iteration of Force, and you're not making a lot of cards back. So it feels like this is going to be a deck that's going to crutch on its brainstorm really heavily, and that's never something that appeals to me.
Ironically, if you're crushing on Brainstormers really heavily, this set punishes the living crap out of you for that.
uh, does that mean the mirror is going to be cancer? I think that's
Probably.
cancer.
Probably. The mirror is probably whoever finds their force cards first wins.
I think it's just going to suck.
Is this deck better or worse than Ghost User?
Worse, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's it doesn't have Azusa, right?
No Azusa's, but it does have Ricky.
Oh god, oh Jesus, yeah, okay, yeah. Feels bad.
Feels bad.
Yeah, definitely worse. Don't think it's close either, unfortunately. As much as I want to extol the virtues of Star Wars, it is just not as good.
And that's fine. Not every set needs to be that good. But it didn't stop me from buying in when I did because I thought the set was going to be hilarious, and
You just
the
like
events have
names.
not disappointed. I'm going
Did
to
you
be
get
real.
Molly?
What?
Did you buy it before the cards like went up like crazy?
Yeah.
You bought a playset before anything happened, right?
A little bit after the spoiler started because I wanted to find out a little bit about the army cards.
That's a good time to buy it because I think they like almost doubled in price.
Yeah, they have. So, that is it for red. We'll be right back with blue and then yellow. Blue is an interesting color as well.